The confetti cannon exploded. Pink smoke filled the air. "It's a girl!" the DJ shouted. 200 guests cheered. My daughter-in-law, Chloe, stood in the center of the ballroom, clutching her stomach, looking like the perfect, glowing mother-to-be. My son, Daniel, was crying tears of joy. He hugged her, he kissed her, he thought he was looking at the mother of his future child. He didn't know he was looking at a stranger. I stood on the balcony overlooking the party, holding a glass of champagne. I wasn't cheering, I was checking my watch. Because Chloe had made a fatal mistake. She thought a baby would secure her place in the family trust. She thought a pregnancy would stop me from looking into her late nights at the office. She didn't know one crucial fact, a fact that only a mother and her son knew. Daniel had a vasectomy 5 years ago. He is medically sterile. That baby wasn't his, and the man who was the father, he was standing right next to Daniel, smiling and clapping. I didn't stop the party. I let them cut the cake. I let them open the gifts. But when it was time for this special video montage of their relationship, I made a little edit to the playlist. This is the story of how a gender reveal party turned into a paternity test that destroyed a marriage. Before I show you exactly what played on that screen, I need to know who is listening. Pause the video right now, go to the comments and tell me, where are you watching this from? And tell me, if you knew a secret that would destroy a marriage, would you tell or keep quiet? I'm reading every single comment. Now, let's pop the balloon. It started a year ago. My son, Daniel, is a CEO. He runs a tech logistics firm in Seattle. He works 80 hours a week. He's brilliant, kind, and hopelessly naive when it comes to women. He met Chloe at a charity auction. She was a yoga instructor. She was beautiful, young, and seemingly devoted to him. Within 6 months, they were married. I tried to warn him. "We don't know her people, Daniel. She has no history." "You're just being a protective mother," he laughed. "She loves me." For the first year, everything seemed fine. Chloe played the part. She hosted dinners, she redecorated his penthouse, she spent his money with impressive speed. But then the shifts began. Chloe started having private clients for her yoga business, high-profile clients. She would leave at 7 p.m. and come back at midnight, smelling of expensive cologne and wine, not sweat and yoga mats. Daniel didn't notice. He was too busy building his empire to notice his queen was slipping out the castle gate. But I noticed. I'm a retired prosecutor. I spent 30 years putting liars in prison. I know the signs. One Tuesday in November, I stopped by their house to drop off some mail. Chloe wasn't home. Daniel was at work. But there was a car in the driveway. A red Porsche. I knew that car. It belonged to Mark. Mark was Daniel's business partner, his best friend since college, the man who stood as best man at their wedding. I parked down the street and watched. An hour later, Mark walked out of the house. He was adjusting his shirt. He looked satisfied. 10 minutes later, Chloe walked out. She was wearing a robe. She waved at Mark as he drove away. My stomach turned. It wasn't just infidelity, it was a double betrayal, the wife and the best friend. I wanted to tell Daniel immediately. I wanted to storm into his office and scream the truth. But I stopped myself. Daniel loved Mark like a brother. He loved Chloe like a savior. If I told him without proof, he would hate me. He would think I was a jealous mother trying to ruin his happiness. I needed undeniable proof. I hired a PI. His name was Keller. He was expensive and worth it. "I need everything," I told Keller. "Texts, photos, hotel receipts." 3 weeks later, Keller called me. "Victoria," he said, "you were right about the affair, but there's something else." "What?" I asked. "Chloe went to a fertility clinic last week. She's not just sleeping with Mark, she's trying to get pregnant." "Pregnant?" I asked. "Why?" "Because of the prenup," Keller explained. "I pulled the filing. The prenup says she gets nothing if they divorce,
unless there is a child. If they have an heir, she gets 40% of the estate and $50,000 a month in child support. I hung up the phone. The puzzle pieces clicked into place. Chloe wasn't just having fun, she was securing the bag. She knew Daniel was working too hard to pay attention to her, so she was finding comfort with Mark. But she needed a baby to lock down the money. She was going to pass off the best friend's baby as the heir to my son's company. It was a brilliant plan, evil but brilliant, except for one detail. 5 years ago, before he met Chloe, Daniel had a health scare, testicular cancer. He survived, but he had to have surgery. As part of the procedure, he had a vasectomy. He froze sperm just in case, but he couldn't conceive naturally. He never told Chloe. He was embarrassed about it. He told me, "Mom, when we decide to have kids, we'll do IVF. I'll tell her then." But they hadn't started IVF. So if Chloe was pregnant, it wasn't a miracle. It was evidence.
2 months later, the gala. It was the annual Rhodes Tech charity ball. The ballroom was filled with investors, employees, and press. Daniel took the stage. He looked happier than I had seen him in years. "Before we start the auction," Daniel said into the microphone, beaming, "my wife has an announcement." Chloe walked onto the stage. She was wearing a tight silver dress that showed a tiny, calculated bump. "We're expecting," she squealed. The crowd went wild. Mark, the best friend, ran up to the stage and hugged Daniel. "Congrats, brother, you're gonna be a dad." I watched Mark's face. He was smiling, but his eyes were on Chloe, a look of possession. "That's my baby," his eyes said. Daniel was crying. "It's a miracle," he told the crowd. We weren't even trying yet, but God has blessed us." I stood in the shadows, sipping my drink. "God didn't do that, Daniel. Mark did." After the announcement, Chloe came over to me. She was glowing with triumph. "Victoria," she said, resting a hand on her stomach, "aren't you excited? You're going to be grandma." "I'm surprised," I said coolly. "I didn't know you and Daniel were trying." "Oh, it just happened," she giggled. "A happy accident. Daniel is so fertile." I almost choked on my drink. "Is he?" I asked. "Oh yes," she winked. "He's a machine." She had no idea. She was digging her grave with every word. "Well," I said, "we must celebrate. I want to throw you a gender reveal party next month at the estate, the biggest party Seattle has ever seen." Chloe's eyes lit up. "Really? You'd do that?" "Of course," I said. "The heir to the Rhodes fortune deserves a proper entrance." "That would be amazing," she said. "Can Mark come? He's the godfather, obviously." "Oh, Mark must come," I insist. "He's family." I spent the next month planning the party. I hired the best caterers. I ordered thousands of dollars in flowers. But my real work was with Keller, the PI. "I need proof that the baby is Mark's," I told him. "I can't get a DNA test in utero without her consent, but I can get you the next best thing." "What?" "I bugged Mark's apartment," Keller said. "They talk about it, explicitly." He sent me the audio file. I listened to it in my office. "Chloe, Daniel is so stupid. He thinks he's super dad. He's painting the nursery." "Mark, does he suspect anything?" "Chloe, no, he thinks it's his. Once the baby is born, I'll wait 6 months, file for divorce, and take the 40%. We'll be set for life, babe." "Mark, and the kid?" "Chloe, we'll raise him. Daniel will pay for everything. It's perfect." It was sickening. They were laughing about making my son pay for his best friend's child. "Okay," I said to myself, "you want a show? I'll give you a show." I called the video editor for the party. "I have a special request for the reveal video," I told him. "I'm sending you some extra footage.
I want it spliced in right before the blue smoke. Is this a prank? The editor asked after seeing the files. No, I said. It's an eviction.
The day of the gender reveal arrived. It was a Saturday in June. The sky was a perfect cloudless blue, the kind of day that makes you believe in happy endings. Unless, of course, you knew what was coming. My estate was transformed. Pink and blue balloons arched over the driveway. A string quartet played pop songs near the pool. There were ice sculptures, a champagne wall, and a cake the size of a Fiat. 200 guests arrived. Daniel's business partners, Chloe's yoga friends, and, of course, Mark. Mark was wearing a suit that matched Daniel's. They looked like brothers. It made my skin crawl. "Victoria!" Chloe squealed, running up to me. She was wearing a flowing pink dress, cradling her bump. "This is amazing! You really outdid yourself." "Only the best for the mother of my grandchild," I said, handing her a glass of sparkling cider. "Where is the video screen?" Chloe asked, looking around. "For the montage?" "It's set up by the main stage," I pointed. "We'll play it right before the cannon goes off." "Perfect," she smiled. "I gave the editor all our wedding photos. It's going to be so emotional." "Oh, it will be emotional," I agreed. I walked away and found Daniel. He was standing by the bar with Mark. Mark had his hand on Daniel's shoulder, laughing. "Hey, Mom," Daniel said. "Look at this turnout. Everyone is here to celebrate us." "Celebrate the truth," Mark added, raising his glass, "to the future heir." I looked at Mark. I looked at the man who was sleeping with my son's wife and planning to steal his fortune. "To the truth," I toasted. I walked to the AV booth. The video editor, a young man named Jason who looked terrified, nodded at me. "Is it loaded?" "Yes, ma'am. File name, The Real Story." "Good. Wait for my signal." The sun began to set. The lights in the garden turned on. It was time. Chloe and Daniel stood on the stage. They held a giant black balloon that said, "Boy or Girl." "Okay, everyone," Chloe shouted into the microphone. "This is the happiest day of our lives." The crowd cheered. "But before we pop the balloon," Daniel said, "my mom prepared a little video journey of our love story." He pointed to the massive LED screen behind them. "Hit it," Chloe yelled. The music started. 1,000 Years by Christina Perry. Photos flashed on the screen. Daniel and Chloe on their first date, the proposal, the wedding. The crowd was awing and wiping tears. Chloe leaned her head on Daniel's shoulder. Mark watched from the front row, looking smug. Then the music stopped, abruptly. The screen went black for a second. Then a new video started playing. It wasn't high definition. It was grainy. Night vision. It was the view from a parked car. Date stamp, November 14th. On the screen, a red Porsche pulled into a driveway. Mark got out. The crowd went silent. Then Chloe walked out of the house in her robe. She kissed Mark, a long, passionate kiss. A gasp rippled through the audience. "What is this?" Chloe whispered, her hand dropping from her stomach. "Daniel, what is this?" I don't know," Daniel stammered. "Is that Mark?" The video cut to audio. The sound of my PI's recording filled the garden speakers. Mark's voice. "Does he suspect anything?" Chloe's voice. "No, he thinks it's his. Once the baby is born, I'll wait 6 months, file for divorce, and take the 40%. The silence in the garden was absolute. You could hear a pin drop on the grass. Chloe froze. Mark dropped his drink. I walked onto the stage. I took the microphone from Daniel's limp hand.
There is no gender reveal today, because there is no Rhodes heir.
Turn it off, Chloe screamed, lunging for the editor. It's fake. It's AI. Someone made this up. Mark jumped onto the stage. Daniel, listen to me. Someone is trying to frame us. I would never. Shut up, Daniel whispered. He wasn't looking at them. He was looking at the screen, where the text messages were now scrolling. Texts detailing their hookups. Texts mocking him. Daniel, baby, Chloe grabbed his arm. You know me. You know I love you. That audio is edited. This is your baby. Our baby. She looked at the crowd, playing the victim. My mother-in-law hates me. She's trying to ruin our happiness. She hacked the system. Daniel looked at me. Mom, is this true? He wanted to believe me. I could see it in his eyes. He wanted to believe it was all a cruel lie. The affair is real, Daniel, I said, but that's not the only proof. I turned to Chloe. You say this is Daniel's baby? Yes, she sobbed. Of course it is. Who else's would it be? Well, I said, turning to the microphone so everyone could hear, that is medically impossible. What? Chloe blinked. 5 years ago, I said, before Daniel met you, he had a battle with testicular cancer. He didn't tell many people because he is a private man. Daniel's head snapped up. Mom, don't. I have to, Daniel, I said, gently, to save you. I looked back at Chloe. As part of his treatment, Daniel had a vasectomy, a complete one. He is sterile, Chloe. He cannot father children naturally. The air left the room. Chloe's mouth opened and closed. She looked at Daniel. You, what? She whispered. Daniel looked down, ashamed. I froze sperm. I thought when we did IVF. We haven't done IVF, I pointed out. So if you are pregnant, Chloe, how exactly did that happen? Chloe backed away. She looked at Mark. Mark looked at the ground, realizing the game was over. It's Mark's, Daniel said. His voice was flat, dead. Daniel, please, Chloe begged, switching tactics. I was lonely. You work so much. Mark was just there. But we can fix this. We can raise the baby together. It doesn't matter whose DNA it is. It matters, Daniel said. He walked over to Mark, his best friend. Mark put his hands up. Danny, come on. Don't do something crazy. Daniel didn't punch him. He didn't scream. He reached into Mark's jacket pocket, pulled out the keys to the company car, and dropped them on the ground. You're fired, Daniel said. Then he turned to Chloe. And you, he said, his voice trembling with a mix of rage and grief, get off my stage, get out of my house, and take your boyfriend with you. You can't kick me out, Chloe shrieked. I'm your wife. I have rights. The prenup, I interrupted, has a fidelity clause. I wrote it myself. If you cheat, you get nothing. 0. No alimony, no house, no 40%. I signaled to the security guards I had waiting in the wings. Escort Mr. and Mrs. Cheat off the property, I ordered. This isn't over, Chloe screamed as they dragged her away. I'll sue you. I'll take everything. You can try, I called after her, but I think you'll find that lawyers are expensive when you don't have a husband to pay for them.
The party emptied out quickly after that. Nothing kills a celebration like a public execution. Daniel sat on the edge of the stage, holding the unpopped black balloon. I sat next to him. I'm sorry, I said. I know that hurt. He took a deep breath. You knew. For how long? A month, I said. I needed proof. If I had told you without it, you would have defended her. He nodded slowly. You're right, I would have. He looked at the balloon. He took a pin from his lapel and popped it. Blue confetti fell out. It was a boy, he whispered. Mark's son. He brushed the confetti off his knees and stood up. Thank you, Mom, for saving me. Again. 6 months later. The divorce was finalized last week. Because of the video evidence and the prenup clause, Chloe got nothing. She tried to fight it, but no lawyer would take her case once they saw the footage. She moved in with Mark, but that didn't last long. Without Daniel's money funding their lifestyle, the passion faded quickly. Mark left her when the baby was born. Last I heard, she was living with her parents in Ohio, working as a receptionist. Daniel took a sabbatical. He went to Europe. He needed to find himself again outside of his work and his failed marriage. He returned yesterday. He looked good, rested. We sat in my office. "I'm ready to come back to work," he said. "Good," I said, "because the company needs you. And Daniel." "Yeah?" "Next time you meet a girl, let me run a background check first." He laughed. "Deal." I looked at my son. He was scarred, yes, but he was free. I sipped my tea. A mother's job is never done. We build the nest, we feed the birds, and sometimes we have to scare away the snakes. They called me controlling, they called me meddling, but today my son still has his company, he still has his dignity, and the family fortune is safe. I'd say that's a job well done. To everyone watching this, if you have a secret that could save someone you love from a disaster, speak up, even if it hurts, even if they hate you for a moment, because a moment of hate is better than a lifetime of regret. And to any gold diggers watching, be careful. You never know which mother-in-law is watching you through the security camera. This is Victoria Rhodes. If you enjoyed this story of high-stakes justice, please hit the like button and subscribe to Granny Archive Stories. And I have a question for you. Do you think Daniel should have forgiven Mark, or was firing him the right move? Let me know in the comments below. And remember, always read the prenup.